Last month, 750 athletes representing 23 countries took part in alpine and Nordic events at the 5th Paralympic Winter Games. And in 20 minutes on BBC Two, Helen Rollison guides us through the action from Tignes in France. Here on BBC One now, we highlight the concerns and interests of the deaf community in See Here.
Here is an illustrated summary of the news. It'll be followed by the latest film of events and happenings at home and abroad.
This is Alexandra Palace, where the very first BBC television programme was transmitted from way back in 1936. And now, with satellite, it's possible for us to share our television programmes on a worldwide basis. From all the letters we've received, you really enjoyed our Christmas International programme, and you've asked for more. So here goes. This is Bush House, the headquarters of the BBC World Service, renowned throughout the world. It joins people from all walks of life, sharing news, programmes and cultures, transmitting programmes by radio in 37 languages all over the world. See Here aims to be the equivalent of our BBC World Service by bringing you the best from television programmes around the world. No other medium is so suited to showing sign language as television and video, which are becoming an important visual part of our culture. It's a new and exciting innovation which is now being used in many ways, one of which is both the learning and teaching of sign language. This system here really looks fascinating. It's called a DVI, which means Digital Video Interactive. Now, it can be used to help teach sign language. Now, the lady working on it at the moment is Linda Day, and she's a researcher here at the Centre for Deaf Studies. Her official job is Sign Language Curriculum Development. Linda, excuse me, hello.
Hello.
Now, what's this VDI mean exactly? I mean, I don't really understand.
Well, it's a DVI, and this is one here. I can explain, but I'll have to go back a little. Some time ago, there was an increase in the numbers of deaf teachers teaching sign language and in hearing people watching television programmes such as See Here. As a result, they wanted to join classes to learn sign language, and the numbers really increased, but there just weren't enough teachers. A company called Attica from Oxford contacted Bristol University regarding the setting up of this system. Their responsibility is the software and the hardware like this, and ours is the sign language curriculum development, and that's how it all started, and it's been an 18-month project. Now, teaching students in a classroom, some of them will want to learn more and ask for books. But I personally don't like this. I don't think they're a good idea because they're so static. Tutors may also feel that some students seem to be weak with facial expression, so can send them to the language lab to brush up on the expression. They may sit here and think that they've been told about having poor facial expression and may question why. So now they do have two choices. They can browse through, or they may want to look at specific details such as facial expression only. Now, the other important thing is that there is a video camera here, and it's vital for feedback, because without it there's no feedback whatsoever. So how do the students working here know whether they're improving or not? So you need to be able to record yourself. So let's say a student chose to look at the sign for who, as in this example. Okay, I get recorded, and I'll show you how that works later. But I copy the way it's signed. It's recorded and then appears on the screen. And it can split screen in half, so we can compare Tutor on one side, me on the other.
So can you show me an example?
Yes, I'll show you. Now have a look at this. Now what I'd done is I'd looked through the dictionary and I decided to choose the word for who. And it told me that there are a few options. So I had a look and previewed them. And it was quite interesting. Now they might be all the same, they could be different ways of signing it. Let me show you. Now there was that way, and yet the previous one was done like this.
Well, it's really interesting to be able to see an example, but if students want to know more, what do they do?
Right, I'll show you that now. That's fine. Now it'll give me a countdown from 5 to 1 before I should start copying the signing. So that's it. I've been recorded and here I am now on the screen. Tutor on the left, myself on the right. And now obviously I want to look and compare. We can do this in a number of ways. I can play the tutor first and then myself, or play them simultaneously. Now to do them simultaneously I must lock the frames together first. So there you go. You have the choice of being slightly behind, but the thing is, of course, you're in control, and I know exactly when to stop and start each frame. The time lag being too far behind, I really don't like that. I can stop and start, play alternative or simultaneously. It's great.
That's great. So hopefully in the coming years, deaf children will have access to something like that and have sign language on the curriculum so that they'll be fluent not only in BSL, but in another European signed or written language through their first language, BSL. I often get asked by hearing people whether other countries have the same sign language as we do, or how is it deaf people can communicate with each other. Every country has its own spoken language, and sign language is no different. Each country has its own indigenous sign language. But it's much easier for deaf people to understand each other's sign language than it is for hearing people to understand different spoken languages. Here's a classic example of French Sign Language from the French video project based at Toulouse. It's a short story about an American football match, and what's interesting is that it has no music or sound. Is this what they term real deaf culture? Amazing. It felt as if I was at the match itself, cheering them on from the touchline. Last year, Dublin in ERA was designated European City of Culture. And for the very first time, deaf people took an active part in the celebrations of the festival. Our friends from Sign of the Times have sent us this film.
I am very happy to be here to open this festival, Identity through Creativity.
Thinking about the trees which are chopped down. Like same like deaf people, we're not allowed to sign. We are oppressed. And when deaf people sign, that are the trees which will grow. And the other one are the deaf people who are oppressed by forbidding signing. That's what it's about.
Where did you fly in from?
I came from Austria. I came to this country, Ireland, because I wanted to take photographs and do reports for the Austrian magazines for the deaf, telling them what happened here. Deaf children in Austria are oralists and know nothing. They have no sign language. They need to know about deaf culture. So my job is to travel around and bring back all kinds of information to encourage them to learn more. After the opening ceremony and the General Assembly, the workshops began. There were 4 different workshops: drama, video, visual art, and young people. The group leaders were from various countries, such as England, America, and Sweden. There wasn't much difficulty in communicating, as most of the work was just practical. There was a great feeling of enthusiasm as they all worked together.
Hello, with me here is Debbie Rainey. She was born in America, but she now lives in Sweden. She's come to Ireland to manage the workshops. Debbie, can you tell me what you'll do here? Yes. I came to Ireland hoping over the next few days to encourage all the deaf from Europe and internationally to work together. I will throw out ideas and make them aware that they have deaf ways and power, and have deaf culture inside themselves by seeing deaf teachers, deaf theatre, and so on. Then when they go home, they'll remember what they've learned and be able to find their true potential in deaf ways through art, theatre, video, or whatever they want. I hope you will achieve what you came for. Thank you.
One of the underlying themes of today's program has been culture, of which language is the key. Deaf Mosaic has for many years been at the forefront of American deaf television, covering a wide range of issues from politics to awareness of the deaf community. But what part do deaf people play in this awareness? This next clip shows how a deaf family rolled up its sleeves and cycled halfway around America on a sponsored bike ride.
They call it Deaf Across America. A 2,810-mile, 43-day journey. Manny Valencia, his sons, 11-year-old Jamie and 10-year-old Jeremias, are biking across America to bring attention to the needs of the deaf community and to specifically publicize the country's need for more sign language interpreters. Manny was struck by this need in a very personal way when his youngest son, Jonathan, was hospitalized for heart surgery.
After the surgery, he was in intensive care for 3 days. He was being watched constantly. One morning, an interpreter came in and left. I didn't know what was happening. I needed help. I had to communicate by writing. Only one sentence was written to me that said my son was okay, that he was fine. A doctor came in the room and said, "Okay, he's fine." Then he left and spoke at length with a nurse. The nurse later wrote the same sentence, "He's fine." It made me think.
During Jonathan's recovery, Manny started to plan a way to bring nationwide attention to this issue, this need for more sign language interpreters. His crusade began on June 5th in California.
We started in our hometown of San Diego. On the first day, we planned to travel only 85 miles. But we were so excited that we rode for 142. We didn't stop for 9.5 hours, and we were exhausted. Leaving California, we headed straight for the desert, but we weren't mentally prepared for what we were about to face. We stopped at Yuma, Arizona. It was very hot, 114 degrees. Even the water boiled. We were thirsty for cold water, but we couldn't drink it. It would have cramped our stomachs. The road was hot and the black tar burned our feet. We had blisters on our lips, but we persisted and continued to Tucson.
Manny Valencia is an experienced cyclist. He rode in the 1965 World Games for the Deaf and was one of the first 3 American cyclists to enter this competition. Today, he is riding the same bike that he rode in the 65 Games, and he's encouraging his sons to become top athletes too.
I want to follow in my father's footsteps. I love to ride, and it's lots of fun, especially riding bikes with my dad.
My father was a World Games athlete, and he taught me how to ride. I wanted to join my dad on this trip, and I want to go to the World Games.
Although days on the road often exceeded 6 to 8 hours, the boys found time to play and learn more about the states they traveled through.
I found a baby rabbit in Kentucky, but I let it go with its mother.
I found a turtle, but then I went to look at a cow being milked and I left it behind. I lost the turtle in Kentucky. I also found some money, pennies and nickels, while I was riding. I stuck them on the windshield of the van for good luck.
Friends Joy Saunders and Fawn Burke drive behind the cyclists, protecting them from other cars on the road.
We ride in this van following the cyclists from one coast to the other. Their slowest speeds are from 1 to 20 miles per hour, and their fastest speed going downhill can reach 50 miles per hour. I've been driving so many miles that my back and hip hurt from sitting so much. And the weather is always hot, never cool.
When she's tired, I drive. Sometimes I ride, trading places with cyclists. I reserve hotels, plan meals, and request donations.
We've recorded our miles from start to finish. We write down the reasons why we stop riding, like if we were tired or sore. I rode 1,000 miles, and Jamie rode 1,099, or something like that.
The team schedules several rest days during their trip to maintain and care for their bikes. And to maintain and care for their bodies, the cyclists eat foods high in carbohydrates, a lot of bananas and peanut butter sandwiches, and a lot of pancakes and pasta. But a welcome change in their diet is eating at McDonald's, a sponsor who provides the family with free meals. Reaching their East Coast destination, Washington, D.C. and Gallaudet University, concludes this family's crusade to bring nationwide attention to the needs of deaf people. And waiting to welcome them with a hug are other family members, including little brother Jonathan.
Well, that's all for now. I hope you've enjoyed our international magazine. Please do write or send a video letter to let us know how you feel about our excursions around the world. Bye-bye.